Flosstube, it's Helen D. Welcome to another rainy, dreary Tuesday in Maine. Today is Tuesday, November 7th. Surprisingly, the light looks okay because it's misty and windy and rainy, and there's snow in the forecast for later this week. We'll see. I know parts of Maine have already gotten some, but we're along the coast, so we haven't yet. I'm not ready. I know it could come literally at any time. It doesn't mean I have to like it. So, hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to start out just with a giant thank you. As the majority of you know, I live in Maine. We had some violence here in Maine. We had a mass shooting a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago. It was in Lewiston. I live about 15 miles from the town line of Lewiston. And then there was a 2-day manhunt that kept getting closer and closer in our direction. We heard helicopters overhead for 2 days. So I tend to stick to just my stitching. So I will stick to just my stitching. But I had to say thank you. Thank you for everyone who reached out, who left a heart, because I was posting some updates, who even just thought about us, right? There's been so much violence in the world. And just to know that you have friends, and even if they're friends that you've never met in person, thinking of you and wishing you well, it really meant a lot. So we're all feeling all the emotions, and one of those that I'm feeling is gratitude for all of you, and thank you for reaching out. Now I will move on. I was talking to Missy last night, and I said I don't really know what to say because I tend to keep these pretty much to the stitching. So that is what I will do. Life stuff other than that. My parents went back to Florida. They go to Florida for the winter. I drove them back. They drove me to the airport. We have 2 cars, but my husband works at home now. So before they go, a few days before, we give them one of our cars. They have it all packed. They pick me up on the way and go down to the airport. This year, they picked me up at 4:20 in the morning. So my dad drove us down there, and by the time we got there, I was awake and I could drive back. But they got back, no problem. My husband took a trip this past weekend. It's been all the trips. He went home to West Virginia, which is where he's from, because his grandmother turned 100. She turned 100 on Friday. She has been looking forward to this. We've been married 16 years. She's been talking about turning 100 since I've met her. So I was so glad that he was able to go down. His sister went. He flew into DC to his sisters. They drove down. He has cousins over there, so everyone was there. They had a really nice time. A quick, busy weekend, but they had a nice time. I did have to cancel stitching at the farm. That was this past weekend, and I was all signed up to go, but he had to go. Right? He had to go to West Virginia. That came first, so I did have to cancel the farm. So I was sad watching everyone having fun all weekend, but I'm on the wait list for next year. What else? Oh, Halloween. My son wasn't going to go. He's 14, and he was like, meh. And then 2 days before Halloween, he was talking to his friends, and they decided they were gonna go. So there was 10 boys at my house. 10, 14-year-olds, maybe a couple 15s thrown in. We live right in town, so it's a perfect spot to kind of meet here. Then they could walk out, walk back. It was a lot of boys. It was a lot of boys, but they had a great time. What else? I had 2 videos go up last week. One was the tutorial for the trees, the hands-on design tree lot trees. I did post that. And a lot of people have said they've ordered supplies, which is awesome. It's a great chart, and it's a finish that can be used for other charts, right? Anything in a triangle shape, as I will show you in a little bit, can be made into a tree. Actually, I saw that Ronnie of Garon Stitchery already stitched his and finished them in trees. They look great. He wrapped some ribbon around the wire. He wanted his higher, so he left more of the stick showing, and he wrapped it with ribbon to make it look more trunkish. So fantastic. I love seeing them. And then I took down my Halloween things. So I put out my Thanksgiving things and did a Thanksgiving decor, my box unboxing. I'm glad I'm not the only one who likes stitching for Thanksgiving. And thank you for all of the suggestions of other turkey charts. A lot of them are already in my house waiting for me to get to them. But there was quite a few that were new that are now on a list. So thank you to everyone for those. That was it. And I got a little fully finishing done. I have 3 things here fully finished, though one of them was really a cheat. All I had to do was stuff it. So we'll start with fully finishes. We'll start with the one that was a cheat. So I had finished stitching this a while ago. This is Holly Jolly Tree Company. It's by Hands On Design. This originally came out at the Jingle Ball last year, and this is available as a download only, a PDF only on the Hands On Design website. A lot of people were looking for the trees there. They're not on there yet, but this one is, I checked. So I finished this kind of like she showed in her finishing, although I think Kathy used a green fabric and I had a black. And then I just took a piece of baker's twine, wrapped it around twice and tied it. I thought I was gonna have to like tack it down, but it seems to be behaving itself. I thought I might put just some tacks right here on the edges. It's behaving itself. So this one, like I said, I had sewn it earlier, but now it counts as a finish. The other 2, one of them was a whip. It was one of my turkey whips that I showed you last video that I was working on. And I did not bring the chart, but it doesn't matter because it's done. It is Secret Turkey Hunt. This is by the Trilogy, and it's a hard chart to find because the Trilogy was 3 different designers in one, and I don't know the status of where you get those charts. I happened to find it. I'd been looking for it for a long time before I found it. So this is, I have this pedestal that I have some seasonal things in. I think it's like, on the back, I think it's 6 by 6, so it's a little shorter on the front. So this is Secret Turkey Hunt from the Trilogy. It's a scrap, oaken maybe, doubloon, picture this plus. So I just put that on a piece of sticky board with some batting, or matte board with some batting, and then I have a fabric. I put some trim around it. It's real fancy in the back, folks. I didn't even have to worry about my corners of the fabric because you're not gonna see them. They're way down in there. So the one thing on this chart that I changed, I'm working away and I'm like, I can't tell what this is. There was like a little motif in there that on the chart, I couldn't tell what it was. So I looked on the picture and it was an axe. And my turkeys do not need that negativity in their lives. So there was an axe, Secret Turkey Hunt. It went right here. So what I did instead, I think this button was supposed to be over here. I stitched a leaf there instead so that I could use the button to fill in where the axe was, and then there's another button back here. And the buttons came with it. So my turkeys are safe. They can just free range turkeys. The other fully finished I have is an adapted chart. This is by Stitchy Princess, who is on, I'm pulling the chart up. She's on Etsy. She's a Ukrainian designer, Katerina. Speaking of areas that have been dealing with violence for far too long. So this is one of her charts. It's called Woodland Christmas. And this is the, turn the brightness down. This is the original chart as charted. So it's adorable as charted. I had bought this originally thinking, oh, maybe just that fox on the present would be a cute ornament, right? If you didn't want to stitch the whole thing. So that's the chart as usual. Then when I looked at it, I thought, it's kind of triangular there in the middle. I'm gonna make a tree. So this is what I came up with. So I took the fox and the rabbit. There was a box of like ornaments here. I moved one of the hedgehogs up. And then I wasn't planning on adding anything here, but because he's got some width right here, right? So when I cut my triangle, there was this empty space. So I added one of the little presents just from a different area in the chart to fill some space. And there it is. So I did change the green. That's the only color I changed because on this particular fabric, which was just a scrap, the called for color wasn't green. It wasn't pulling green on this fabric. I had a owl pin, which fits with the woodland theme, and some green for the back. So now I have another little tree for my forest of trees. So again, this chart is on Etsy, Stitchy Princess. I will list her below with a link. And then the other one of hers I wanted to show you. She's been putting out some Christmas things, and she has this new release, and it's an advent calendar. And so you can stitch it, the whole thing. I think I'm going to stitch just a couple of the animals as ornaments. That polar bear, that fox, maybe that reindeer, number 10. So this is another of her new charts, and you could just pick and choose what you want. Those little ornaments, I'd have to count the stitches. They might even fit on some of those little wooden tags that I have, that I did the hands-on design beach stitches on. So that's a future plan. So that will be linked. I will link her below, and she always is so appreciative of any and all support that you can give to her. The money that she's making from selling charts is really making a difference to her. This was on Wild Mint Lugana from Atomic Ranch. I don't know what count. It had a 28 count on it and a 32 count on it. So all I know is that's how it was labeled. Finishes, I finished 2 ornaments that are kind of secret ornaments. I can't show you yet. I am going to film a separate video when I did this last year too, with all of my kind of, here's all the secret things I've been working on. Now you can see them. Then the other thing I finished was Pumpkin Fair from October House. So Pumpkin Fair, October House Fiber Arts. This one, I've done Strawberry Fair and Honey Fair, loved them. To me, this one was the easiest stitch of all 3 of them, which was a nice surprise because Robin puts so much detail and pattern in the big element, right? In this case, it's the pumpkin, but that pumpkin actually stitched up pretty quick. Now, the one change I made in this, I left off the top green because I was stitching away and that's what I had left. And I was like, you know what? I like it as is because this is all like even. I like it as is, so I'm gonna leave it. So Pumpkin Fair, I stitched mine on an 18 count, picture this plus Heartland. I don't stitch a ton on 18 count, but I had it, the colors. I always pick fabric based on what do I have? Do I have something that will work? Either what color works with the floss, and it doesn't matter what size it is, or how big do I want the finished piece to be, and that's what I go with for my count, right? If I want it to fit in a certain size frame and it would fit in that frame if I did it on a 16 count, that's what I'm gonna use. So that's how I pick my fabrics. Very willy-nilly. And that was it. Then I have some whips. I have 2 new starts, an old whip, and an ongoing whip. I've been stitching a lot. Stitching has very much helped calm, as I know it does so many people. Stitching has helped calm. So there has been stitching. This is the piece I've been keeping in the car, not getting close. This is from Barbie Pedal Pusher, and it is her, I have it in here because it's a color chart. Normally I make a copy, but I started this one at the Stitch New England retreat, so I just started using the regular copy, and I'm trying not to completely trash it. So it's called Troublemakers, and this is now with distributors, so I know you can get it. Your LNS should be able to get this. I think Barbie actually has it on her Etsy shop as well now. So Troublemakers, I'm using all the called for colors, which are DMC. I'm stitching mine on a scrap piece of Picture This Plus, either Fog or Tycho. They're very, very similar. And this is where my troublemakers are at. So I've got 2 crows, there's one more up here, and just a few more pumpkins. I'm gonna keep this one in the car until I finish it. I may not fully finish it until next year, and then I've been starting to fill in, there's like some ribbing on the pumpkins. So I'm starting to kind of fill that in as I go too. So that one is coming along. It must have stopped actually raining because I've just seen 3 different people go by with their dogs. Not that dogs care if it's raining. The other whip that I worked on is one of those older whips I told you last video I was going to pull out. This is not it. This is not it, so we'll get to it. This is a new start. Again, this one is on a color chart and I haven't had a chance to make a copy yet. So I started Turkey Day. Turkey Day is by Cottage Garden Samplings. He is magnificent. Magnificent. I hope you can't hear my husband. He's right above me in a meeting yapping away. 2 colors of Gentle Arts thread, the rest is DMC, although I decided for some of these leaves, I matched up the DMC with my coloring cotton, because I have it, why not? This is as far as I got so far. I have 2 leaves, 3 leaves, on some turkey toes. I'm stitching mine on a 28 count, which on 28, it should come out to 7 1/8 by 9 1/4. So theoretically, it will fit in an 8 by 10. However, this is not a hand-dyed fabric, so it hasn't shrunk. So mine might be a little snug in an 8 by 10. We'll have to see. This is 28 count wheat by Zweigart. So it's a regular Zweigart color. All the colors worked, especially there's some, you can't really see them, but there's a pale, pale, pale gray up here and it's in his head. This is where I was more concerned, is it's the top of his head. And I wanted to make sure that that would show, and it does on this fabric. It's DMC 1. So that one is underway. I will work on this throughout the month of November and then put it away. That's how I kind of do my turkey pieces. I work on them during the season and then I put them away for next year. He might get finished next year. He's pretty big. The other new start I have was a completely unexpected new start. You guys are probably gonna be like, that's not even your style, but I've had this for a long time. When I put up my Thanksgiving things, I've really been working on building up things for Thanksgiving. However, see this big hole right here? This hole? I don't have anything large that will fill that hole. And I don't want to put 1,000 holes in the wall because then I'd have to fill all the seasons with 1,000 things. So I was trying to think like, what could I put there? And then I remembered this chart. This is by Blue Ribbon Designs. It's called Frolic in the Foliage. And the picture is small. Like, here's the whole chart. So we'll do a slow pan. It's got turkeys on it, 2 turkeys. So this one on a 28 count is 13 by 9 1/2, 13 by 9 1/2. So that will fill some decent sized space up there. I started in the center. I think the center block is going to be the most difficult block because there's a lot of kind of fiddly color changes. The rest of it seems a little simpler, easier. I'm not sure. It just seems like it will go quicker. So there is my center block. I'm stitching this one also on a Zweigart. I believe it's just platinum, 28 count platinum. Again, I pulled colors. I threw them on a bunch of fabrics I had, and what did I have that was the right size? Didn't even iron it, clearly. There's a big old wrinkle in there. I did end up swapping some colors because I didn't have a couple, so I was going through to pull colors, and then when I pulled the colors, they were very bright. The DMCs were bright. So I kind of darkened some of them up, especially the oranges. I'm using 2 Victorian Motto flosses I had. So especially that one is a lot darker than what it was. And then I had to darken the red so it would work with them. And I think I swapped a green. I did. I pulled it's called Prairie Grass. I pulled a Victorian motto that I had because the green on here was kind of a brighter green. And where I live in Thanksgiving time, that is not the color that the grass is. So I kind of went with dead grass green. That's what I'm using. So this one, there's no way that'll get done this year. That is a carryover whip, if ever I saw one. I'm hoping to get at least the center block. I'd love to get a couple blocks done so that then next year it's a little closer to a finish, right? So that's kind of the plan. All right, here's the one that was the holiday whip. It's a winter whip. Hold on, my iPad closed. This chart is called Snow Days. It's from Autumn Lane Stitchery. This was in their Christmas box last year. This is coming out this year, but it's not out quite yet. So this will be a release from Autumn Lane Stitchery this year. So I have the coffee cup above the cardinal is what I just stitched this week. I have the coffee cup, the cardinal, the ice skaters, the mittens, and the sled done. I think I have the mittens done. So I have to do winter and that village. I tell you this because I'm not taking it out of the queue today because it is an active rotation. But I can tell from the backside that I do have the mittens done. So I did that coffee cup. This is stitched on 28 count Enchanted from Mystic Fabrics, which is this grayish, bluish. It's fantastic. The white shows up. I love it. I'm sure you all saw that Cottage Garden Samplings teased what their new series is going to be, and it's going to be Fabulous Houses for 2024. I won't do all of them. I'm sure I'll do a couple of them. I definitely want to do the first one, which is, I think they called it Santa's House, and I may do it on this fabric. It has a ton of white in it, but you don't want the white to be kind of in your face. It's supposed to be kind of blended, and I think it would look really nice on that fabric. So last night I'm working on this piece. Like I said, this was a whip from last year, and I've got my, old school, wrote my numbers on it. I ran out of one and I went to put more on it. No floss. Where's my floss? Not on my table, not on this table, not down beside me. My son's playing games on the floor. I'm like, is there floss under my chair? Nope, no floss under my chair. No floss. Then I remembered, oh yeah, way back at the beginning of the year, I found this floss ring and I couldn't figure out what it went to. And I left it on my desk for ages thinking, oh, I'll figure it out. And then finally I get tired of moving it. And I'm like, well, they're all DMC. I'm just gonna put them away. And when the time comes, I'll be like, oh, that's what they went to. Well, that's what they went to. So I went to my box and all of them were just right in my box, but I had to just re-pull them, but mystery solved. So that's what I've been working on. I'm looking at my list. Okay, I'm gonna talk to you guys about, I'm starting to make some plans for 2024, and I think I'll probably go over them more when I do my whip parade, because hopefully my whip parade won't have a super ton in it because I'm really working. I've been working all year to get those down. I've been pulling some charts that are like, I'm shortlisting some charts in a box. So maybe we'll go through the box of my shortlisted charts, which doesn't mean I'll get to them. Some of them have been shortlisted for years now, and I still haven't got to them. So we'll go over that later. But one thing that I was thinking of that I wanted to do was I really wanted to get some work done and pull some charts that are out of books and magazines. So we all have them, right? We all have Christmas books, regular books. I just got that new Emma Congdon book. I have books. I have magazines. I don't stitch enough from them. So I want to do a stitch along from books and magazines. I will definitely still do stitch alongs with Carla. We haven't even talked about next year yet. So that's coming later. Then Kia B announced that for 12 and 12, the new starts for New Year's Eve, she's doing magazines. Perfect. Maybe I'll join in with a couple. I won't do 12. So I'm going to call mine, I'm going to use the hashtag #BookItSal. Going back to my childhood as an avid reader / Pizza Hut personal pan pizza eater. And I ordered this needle minder to use with my Sal pieces. How many of you coveted these pins, the Book It pins? So I got this needle minder from Copper Marmalade, and I'll list her below. She has it on there. It's listed as a pin, and then what you do is there's a big, if you want one for yourself, there's a big drop-down menu. So you click on the item. My phone's not down here, and that won't load on my iPad, on my Kindle. So you click on the pin, right, the picture, and then there's a drop-down menu with all the different ways you can get it. And one of them is Needle Mind. It's $4.50 if you want to just look by price. So it's $4.50 and then shipping. I think the shipping was $4. I got a couple other things while I was there. The entire back of this bad boy is a magnet. And then her backing magnet, like, has its own little grippy. So if you want to book it with me in 2024, that is where I got this needle minder. So I will list her below as well. I'm starting to kind of look through some things. I have a Halloween one already picked out and a winter one. And those are like big ones. Then I'll do some ornaments and stuff too. So book it. Maybe, should we set that if you finish so many things, you get a personal pizza? You can get a big pizza if you want it. All right. I did get a couple of really, really sweet Halloween cards in the mail. Thank you for those. They're tucked away. But I did want to say thank you. And they were homemade, and they were really, I'm impressed by people that do paper crafts. That's not something I ever got into, but they were very, very cute and appreciated. Let's move on to giveaways. We have one last call, Kathy K, Twice Blessed from Hands On Design. Kathy K. All right. I put the new ones on top of the old ones. So, from last video's giveaways, number 1, Christmas stamps. This is going to Sarah, Stitchin' Mommy. I love Sarah's videos too. So Sarah, stamps. Can't wait to see what you do with them. She's very creative. Number 2, Christmas sentiments. This is a Stony Creek. This is Penny Holdcraft. Number 3, Winter House Trio is Jessica Chanslor, Chanslor. And number 4, the Lizzie Kate Snow Story, Heidi Schaefer, Schafer. So that was last videos. This video I have 2. They both are donated generously, as always, from Carla at Cobweb Corner. Carla is back from farming. She's posted an update video. She's posted some restock videos. She's gonna get me into trouble. So Carla is back. You can go check out her Flosstube. Her store is open. I will link everything below so that you can check her out as well. So for giveaways, you need to be over 18 so you can legally give me your address. Please don't say giveaway or win. I'd appreciate it if you're a subscriber. Go subscribe to Carla's channel as well. She would appreciate it. And then just use the numerical number in your comment. I always forget to say, but my email is listed below. So for those of you who won, you can just email me at my email below. So for this video, I have 2. They are Thanksgiving themed. Number 1 is your own giant turkey. I have another copy of Turkey Day. So this is number 1 if you want to join me in stitching this ginormous piece of awesomeness. And then number 2, this was a newer chart to me. It's from the Calico Confectionery, and it's called Shine On Harvest Moon. I'll pull it closer, but so you can see the chart. I thought that was really sweet. And if you're not an alphabet stitcher, you could just do the center. And I did some quick measuring, and I believe just the center is 80 by 80. So you could leave off. The whole thing is 140 by 140. But you could leave off all those alphabets and it would be just sweet. It's really cute. Honestly, if you left off these pumpkins and these pumpkins and just put more stars here, you could finish it as a circle. Options. You've got options. So that's number 1 and number 2. Thank you so much to Carla at Coppercorn. That's it. That's it. What do I got going on? Just more of the same. We have a bunch of random stuff the next couple of weeks. I have an eye appointment. Nothing, conferences, nothing major that I can think of. I talked to my mom this week and I'm like, oh, we don't have anything going on this week. And then when I looked at the calendar, I'm like, oh, we have 7 things going on this week. They're just nothing major. So definitely regular video in a couple weeks. I've got a couple other things I'm working on. We'll see when I get to them. So you'll see some extra videos peppered in, but I have no time frame for them. So I will, of course, be doing a Christmas decorations at the beginning of December. I take stuff down after Thanksgiving, and then I'll probably do ornaments separately because they're in their own self-contained box, and that would be a long one with all of it. Winter might get thrown in there. I don't remember how I packed things. That's what it's going to come down to. And then we'll kind of be at the end of my seasonal openings, although I do have quite a few Valentine and St. Patrick's that might get their own to do. And then I think that's everything. But that's it. Have a great day. Our new internet got hooked up yesterday, so this is the test to see how this upload goes. I'm excited. Hopefully I'm not disappointed. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.